Hello again everyone. Today I'm going to take you through the installation of the Tab Performance Super Intake on my Harley-Davidson Virad. This is my 2010 Virad VRS-CAW. I purchased this super intake from the Tab Performance. This is designed to provide increased horsepower and torque. Do not let anyone unbox it, because if someone is not aware of the filter system, there is a chance the filter could cut from the knife while cutting off the plastic wrap. So let us start our installation. First, we remove the seat. It is not necessary, but I thought it would be helpful and give me some extra room. Now, take off the airbox cover. You can turn the thumb screw at the back end of the airbox cover to unlock the airbox and pull the airbox carefully. Now we need to remove 7 clips which are attached to the airbox. 3 on each side and 1 on the front, which is a different type. All clips can be easily removed by a flathead screwdriver. Next step is to press on the metal ring and pull it to detach the intake air sensor. Later we will be removing the sensor from the airbox. Now we have removed all the clips and are ready to take off the airbox top portion. Now we can see the different style front clip attached to the airbox. Okay, let us remove this factory airbox and filter. I'm just going to unscrew the top of this box and pull the cover off. I have a K&N filter on my Virad, but I believe the new K&N pleated filter makes it different. Now the next thing we're going to do is pull up these O-rings so we can get to the Allen bolts here. There are 3 Allen bolts per each velocity stack. So, what we need is 3/16 Allen wrench to remove those bolts. After removing the velocity stacks, it is now time to remove this oil hose. The hose needs a kind of push to come off. It is a real tight fit, but just push it out, and that'll allow us to completely remove this airbox. Okay, one last thing we need to do before touching the new super intake is that we're going to remove this center rod. Also, be careful with this gasket. If you see any damage to that gasket, I recommend even consider buying a new gasket. That is what I have done. It's important to make a good seal at that gasket. To remove the center rod, just hold it with one hand, and turn it with a plier. Basically, once it gets loose, we can untwist it by hand. I am going to make a platform to work on the Tab Super Intake. This will help me to work on a stable surface, as well as protect the intake from dust. The new Tab Super Intake comes fully assembled, so when we disassemble to fix on the bike, we can see how it goes together. To do this, we need 5x32 Allen wrench. First, we need to take off the 3 top screws. Then remove this top plate as well as the filter. There are 2 Allen bolts in between the velocity stacks. I will go ahead and remove those as well. So now we will install the base plate with the factory screws which we removed from the bike. In case the screws don't suit, check the screw closely. You might see a brass color sleeve on it which you need to remove. There is a chance the fissure came along with the screw, from the old velocity stack. Another important note is that before fixing the base plate, do not forget to place the gasket carefully. Since the base plate fits only one angle, there won't be any confusion with the alignment. The good thing is base plate comes as one piece, so it is no hassle for the installation. The next step is to remove this line from the factory breather. It is easy, but carefully just push it gently, and then take it out from the other side. Let us put it in its place for now. Okay, next, let us remove this clamp, so that we can put the crankcase breather hoses. I think this is the most time-consuming part of this installation. We need to remove the factory hose and use the hoses that come with the super intake. There are 2 tubes and 4 clamps that come with the package. Use the 2 clamps and the bigger hose to connect this tab-provided new crank breather hose. Tight enough so it shouldn't come out if it gets heated. Okay, now this is that piece that I pulled out of the factory airbox. So I am going to get the supplied aftermarket hose, get it slid on there and tight. Then we will run that ring clamp to get it tightened down. Okay, now we need to put the super intake in place to measure those two hoses we installed and cut off the excess hose. Make sure to leave a little bit extra length so it will help to move the intake when needed. You can use a marker to mark the line where you want to cut off. I am marking with the tester I have handy instead. I am going to cut off the hose where I marked, and round nicely. I am happy with the fact that Tab provided an anti-shrink spring. This spring goes into the hose which connects to the piece we removed from the factory airbox. This spring prevents kinks in the oil line. I would recommend putting the piece with the shrink spring first to the super intake. I am taking my pillow to give a nice surface to give pressure. So push the hose in completely and tighten it with the ring provided. Basically, spring needs to push in just above the connector we removed from the airbox. Now we can tighten the hose with the hose clamp provided. Now we have set for the side with the spring. Let us repeat the same on the other side as well. Note, there is no spring required in the other side. Just push the hose all the way connecting to the super intake, then tighten up with the hose clamp nice and tight. Now to remove the air intake sensor from the factory airbox. Press the round end gently inside the airbox with a plier, then push it, it will come out easily. This sensor measures the temperature of the air entering the engine. It goes under the bottom portion of the super intake. I am going to connect the AIS connection back to the sensor which we relocated to the super intake. And do not forget to put the rubber beading before you tighten up the base plate. There are two screws in the middle of the base plate that need to be tightened. Now it is time to put the filter. This filter comes pre-oiled. The only thing that needs to be careful while fixing the filter is that the side with the logo goes on the top. The cover goes only one way, so there won't be any confusion. Just put the cover aligned to 3 screws, then tighten the screws. So, we are done our installation. Hopefully I will see some difference in writing as well. If you are looking to make your VROD to the next level performance, I guess this is something you could consider. The Tab performance part number is in the description box, which is VROD Super Intake, Machine Finish 1171009. Thanks everyone for watching, have a wonderful time. As usual, a friendly reminder to subscribe to my channel and press the bell button so you won't miss my new videos. Moreover, don't forget, your comments are valuable. Goodbye until we meet again with a new video.